keep you on your toes. I'll just give you a little intro of what I examined in Shakespeare's plays. Obviously, he's one of the most examined playwrights of all time. And it's not the plot that matters, it's the meaning behind each line. Many people who study Shakespeare, they understand that a lot of his plots are based on previously written stories, and they're kind of like his interpretation of these stories, and he adapts these stories and makes them his own. Even though he borrows like a lot of these plot lines, he creates like entirely different meaning with all the characters and all of the settings and things like that. So it's rarely the plot that even matters. The most important thing is the meaning behind each line. Like I said before, his plays have been like translated to every major language and performed all over the globe. And I looked at what's in a name kind of thing, like why he chose certain characters to have a transformation or a coming of age, like a experience that where they go from acting as one character, maybe inexperienced, to someone who's more assured of their actions. And so one of the main things is I went through the plays and I broke it up into like different sections. One of the things I found is the name is like a burden, kind of like what she was talking about with Hamlet. The name was a burden, his family, his father. He was always trying to live up to his father. So I talked about that in one, and then I also used, compared another section where kind of characters use disguises to get what they want. You find that out in like As You Like It. It's one of his famous comedies where the leading female dresses up like a young pubescent boy and pretty much convinces her husband, her future husband, to be a more desirable lover and learn more about love. So it's a lot about self-identity, acceptance, and things like that. So I'm going to read a section that I wrote about King Lear and Antony, from Antony and Cleopatra, and it's entitled Name as a Burden. Throughout Shakespeare's plays, we encounter a variety of characters that have been searching for self-identity. Some of Shakespeare's characters are successful, while others fail to reach the point of maturation. In King Lear, the main protagonist, Lear is not the obvious choice for a character that experiences a rite of passage. He is an aging king who doesn't want to fulfill the duties of being a leader. Like many of Shakespeare's characters, he is flawed and oftentimes flirts with insanity, but even among his imperfections, Lear transforms from a cruel and irresponsible ruler to a humble and loving father. From the moment we are introduced to Lear, Shakespeare paints a picture of a man who would rather retire and split time living with his daughters than to rule his kingdom. When Lear decides to divide his land amongst his king, he asks, "Which of you shall we say doth love us most?" That question tells us a great deal about the king. Rather than the king asking, "Which of you loves me the most?" he asks them to flatter him with a public display of love. Lear is a man concerned with appearance. He would rather hear a false reply if it sounds gratifying than a truthful response. Two of his three daughters, Goneril and Regan, leech onto this opportunity to churn out meaningless compliments about the boundless love they claim to have for their father.